Okay, here we are. Let's get started. Okay. All right, welcome everybody. So here is our agenda for today. We are going to do a challenge activity, which draws on everything we've done so far. So we've learned enough to do some interesting things. You can create a dynamic web page. You have learned about randomness, and we're going to combine all that together to make a dice playing game. This might be worth an extra credit point on your midterm exam if you finish it. I have a policy with the challenge activities where, just sometimes just incentivize you guys. I'll give you some extra credit if you finish it. But I want to tell you which ones you get extra credit for. So you kind of have to. I'll tell you at the end if this is one of them, or how much. Like some might be worth more than others. So I have given up to 3 percentage points on the midterm exam as extra credit for finishing it. So that's number 1. We'll do the challenge activity. Next, we're going to introduce Lab 3, which is going to be a team assignment. You'll be divided up into groups of 4, and you'll work on this together. In the spirit of that, we're going to talk about Git workflow on Teams. Has anyone ever used, I know people have used Git here, but has anyone used Git in the context of a team? Okay, a lot of you have. I think about half of you have. So that's good. That's good. So we're going to go over good workflow practices so you guys can do that with minimal headache and confusion, because that can be a source of big, just annoying problems if you don't get your workflow down right. All right, then if we have time, we'll go into PHP arrays at the end. And let's see, let me go over some announcements as well. So our lab 3 is going to be due 2 weeks from today. So it's going to be due on the 25th, Sunday at midnight, 5 minutes before midnight. We are also releasing homework 2 today. So homework 2 is going to be due on, right now it says Saturday. Let me just make this Sunday just to be consistent. Let me change this to Sunday. It's going to be due on Sunday at midnight. Okay, and you can check out the rubric here for homework 2. 2 loops, 2 conditions, different numbers of CSS rules. You have to use rand at least once, 2 images, 1 array, and 3 array functions. Okay, so we'll go over those today as well, or worst case, Wednesday. And there should be some amount of thoughtful effort you put into this, right? Like you could probably, spin this up in like 15 minutes if you wanted to, just check them all off. And this is something that I want to see. There's like a purpose to whatever you build. They should have some kind of common goal. And just as a metric, I'd like to see you invest at least a few hours into this. So at least 2 hours for sure. So it should look like you put some time into this. Okay, any questions about that? Homework 2. So you have 2 assignments to think about, right? Homework 2, due 1 week from now on Sunday. Lab, which we're going to introduce today, is going to be due 2 weeks from today. Okay, so with that said, let's take a look at our challenge activity. So for this one, you guys will pair up with somebody and you'll work on this together. We will take, I want to say 20 minutes for this, maybe 30 minutes. We'll see how it goes. And after that, we'll pick a few groups to present how you guys did it. So let me introduce the challenge activity. Here it is. It's under this week. We've got the cards challenge. That's not it. This says arrays. Okay. Was that? No, that's a different one. That's our lab. Let me find it again. Random card. This is it. Okay, so while I was converting that, I'll just describe it here. So in this challenge, you are given some images to work with. And let me show that to you. So this is on the iLearn. So you can download challenge files. So if you open this, you'll see we've got cards. So there's 4 folders in there: clubs, diamonds, hearts, spades. Each of these has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 images in it to represent basically the royal cards. So that's what you're given. Now the goal is to generate 2 cards, one for the human, one for the computer. And whoever's card is higher wins. Okay? So a couple things to note. There's 20 cards to choose from, 5 per suit. The highest card wins, right? So ace is the highest, king, and so on. 2 random cards are shown each time. And there should be a message that tells you who wins, or a tie if it's a tie game. Okay. Your program should use at least 1 function. We've talked about those, right? We've made functions. And you do not need to use arrays for this because we haven't covered it. So don't use arrays. If you know about arrays, just don't use them. And the CSS, I'll make this optional, but this is a good exercise. Try to use a web font, color, and center things so they look decent. But if you get to step 5, then that's fine. Okay, so let's take the next, let's just say 30 minutes. So look, I'll give you guys a warning at 25 minutes. And at 30 minutes, we'll pick a few people to see how you guys did. So please pair up. I'm going to go around. I'm going to make sure you guys are pairing with somebody, okay? So let's get started. Oh, you were? Okay. Email me about that. Just email me. Oh. Yeah. How are you guys doing? Third up?
Yeah.
I also encourage you guys to just spend a few minutes, plan it out with your partner, write some pseudocode, get practice. Think of this as training for your midterm exam, right, or your final. Like you'll be given something like this, and you'll have a limited amount of time to get it done. You guys have the right files? Okay, so just a reminder, the right files you want to work with is this one, challengefiles.zip. It's not this one. It's not cars.zip. Sorry if that was confusing. There are no instructions. This is free form. You know the goal, right? Yeah, so there were some criteria there. I can bring it up again. It's right here. Oh yeah, let me put this on there. Sorry, this is the wrong. I'm gonna put it on the iLearn. Okay, so the instructions are here. It's cards challenge. You can click on that, and that will tell you exactly what it should do. Okay. Okay, let's see how you guys are doing. All right. Question?
This error, I'm not really sure what it is.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Right here.
Let's see. Is it complaining about something when you run it?
Yeah, it just says something that line 38, but I'm not going to tell what it is.
Can I see the error when you run it? Unexpected end of file on line 38. Looks like there's something that wasn't closed properly.
It's a switch, actually.
It's a switch?
It's
Okay.
that's not there.
Got it.
I guess, and then if they're equal, then that's what. So the first number of passing, so if we're just like passing a pair of values, then we're just going to use this. And if they're equal, then it's the numbers. Because when we'll compare these two over here, compare the first one. So they're equal to the rest.
Okay, another 15 minutes for this.
Yeah, that's if they're both ace of spades, right?
So if someone plays like ace of hearts and someone plays ace of spades, do they tie or does the spades
To tie, yeah.
tie?
So what's the greatest? Then highest will be 85. It's choosing
Question?
We use this one and then we use it right here. I just can't remember why.
You mean from the lab?
Yeah.
Yeah. This had to do with the fact that we had 3 slots in our slot machine, and it was important to remember the pause position because I think we needed it we needed to differentiate the first one from the second one somehow. And let me see. Why do we use that?
I have it in the,
Do you have it?
yeah, like right here. I have the lab.
Yeah. Right, because we actually needed it for styling. Because each reel
Oh, just styling.
had its own position. So we had to know is it reel 1, reel 2, reel 3, because they had a different CFS.
Okay, and this is just for the positioning of the image.
Yeah, so if you look at the style, see reel 1 has different style,
Oh.
reel 2, and so on.
And the real. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What's that? You don't have to. You'll be fine if you don't. It's okay if it looks not that great. But all the functionality should be there, right? Yes. The message and everything. Yeah.
Underneath that, you're going to display. Oh. I got it. Random, random I, or random one. Oh, okay. So how is it going? Oh. I don't get it. Well, no, I get it, but I don't get it. So you don't even know if you're funny. Oh no, it works. Well, it feels hard. Also,
You know what I'm saying? So it's not with the. And it keeps on doing it. It's like I'm like, there you go. Whack-a-mole. Like it just keeps on switching.
Okay, a few minutes left here.
no, look right here. I got those screenshots instead of like a chat. No, I said Randy.
One thing you can do is right click on
Oh, wait, I think I saved. Here it is. And then this is. That's the need.
You can make another statement.
No, I just.
I mean, you have to specifically add. Yeah. Because like the space is Okay, we are going to pause. Right? So, can I get a show of hands? How many people did it? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Pretty much what I expected. I mean, the first time you guys are at like a free-form exercise, even though you've learned all these things, but to piece them together without a step-by-step tutorial with a timed environment is a whole other level pressure there. This is roughly what it's going to be like for your exam. For your exam, you're going to be given something like this. Harder than this actually, because you'll have more to do. And you'll have a busy time. You have 2 hours. Here you had like 45 minutes. So it's a good metric, right? If you're a little struggling with this, fine, practice. And I'm telling you, a lot of the work comes in the first 5 minutes, how you plan it out. Okay, so let's pause here. I'm just gonna get since not too many people finished, I won't do the random name picker. But let's get one of the teams who finished. Would you be willing to volunteer and share your thing? So you guys want to share? Okay, so let me. I'm gonna do laptop. Yep. So go ahead and click share screen whenever you're ready.
Okay, was it?
Yes. And the other people who we may not present, can you just email me your names that you finished? Who are the teams that finished? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so I should see 9 emails. Just email me your name that you finished. I'll come check you off as well, and you guys will get an extra percentage point on your midterm exam. You too? Okay, I'll check you guys off during the break. Okay. Now you're raising your hands. When it came to participating, it was like, all right. You just finished? Okay, cool. All right, so. Okay, cool.
We didn't get the.
Ooh, looks like a pretty hand. Okay.
Left is human, right?
Okay, cool. So you got human wins, computer wins, human wins. Very good. Very good. So now let's look at your code. This is, all right, so we're gonna navigate through. Okay, so can you press Control plus maybe once? There you go, that's good. Okay, and I'm just gonna request remote control of your screen so I can, how can I do that? Request remote control, there it is. Okay, cool. All right, yeah, looks pretty clean so far. So they have a choose card function, all right? And they have a display card function. And they have a play function. Guys, can we quiet down, please? We're about to walk through the code. Thank you. All right, so we have a play function. They have three functions. And well, what does play do? Let's see. It's okay. So it iterates. It's a for loop that happens twice. So 1 and 2. It's going to generate a random sweet value. Okay, and a random face value. Got it. And it looks like, okay, so they're generating 2 variables, sweet value 1, face value, and face value 1. Okay, got it. So you renamed your directories probably, huh?
No,
Card challenge, right. Image. Got it. Okay, so right. So clubs is the name of the directory, right? Okay. So let's see what else they do here.
So the main part of that is choose card and associated line 26.
So line 26, right. So display card. Okay, cool. So they generate a random face value and face value 1, face value 2. Sure. Can you just walk us through this? How does your code work? Okay.
So from the play, you generate, so suit value needs a number, one of 4 numbers that represents the suits. Face value, one of 5 numbers. And through choose card, those values are passed in so that based on, we assign with the switch case, we assign the values, and those values can be used for creating variables for the directory.
Yeah.
That's how we locate the image.
Okay.
That's just for displaying it. So when we echo the image.
Yeah.
Then in terms of the display card, we just compare the values, the face values that we get. And if they're equal, then they tie, and then one's greater, human one else
I see. Okay. I think I was just getting thrown off by the function names because
Oh, okay.
display card really displays the winner.
Yeah. Just,
Okay. I see.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's great. I think I get it now. So I like the way you broke it out into functions. So you have one function that's responsible for, oh, I can't scroll up on this thing. So you have one function that's responsible for generating the random, basically the card, the clubs and the rank, right? That's great. You have another function down here that's responsible for telling you who's the winner. And I like what they're doing here. Rand 1, Rand 2, these are numbers. And so these numbers are, let's see, face value 1 is, you basically remember the random index that was generated. So basically, if 0 is generated, that might represent 10. If 1 is generated, that might represent Jack. And so you know who wins if 1 is greater than 0, you know that whoever has 1 wins, right? So so that's great. And I think that's good. This is good. So yeah, just one feedback is just be careful with your use of names. So the function names, it can throw you off later. If you come back to your code like a few months from now, you might be confused because you might think display card is something like that, like displays the card. Otherwise, this is great. Thank you. Okay, let's take a break. So take a 10-minute break. We'll come back. Let's say 7-minute break. We'll come back at 5. Is it 5? Yeah, 5:10. And in the meantime, I'll come and check off people who finished it. Just raise your hand. I'll come and check off. You guys finished it?
Yeah.
I don't want to put it all together. I had a Windows. Where am I?
Oh, you did?
Okay, just try to get it working out.
Yeah, but follow our own course. Like an online course. And you just lower it out. Give lessons that you don't need it. We're trying to find yeah.
I do like programming islands so far.
Right now, stage 1.
It's supposed to be a story.
Oh, you're not in the same. Okay. You guys.
Yeah.
You guys each took a
Yeah, we did.
Oh, you're in a different group. Who are you?
Okay.
Oh, okay. So just email me that you did it. Just remind me of it.
Jeff Wilson,
You can do that too. Yeah, you can do that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys do it. Tell me I'll have a record. Yeah. All right, yeah. Yeah, just email me your name. Okay. Hey, Alex, how are you? Ready, yeah? I'm good. We just did a challenge activity.
Same one, challenge 2.
Yeah.
Oh wait, is that the submit or no?
No, that's the just generating 2 cards. Like to choose.
Okay. I do morning Anderson, and I'm probably do next for yes. The random.
Oh, there we go.
Wait, are we behind or they?
I think they're just ahead. Unless we cover, I think we may cover forms next week or something.
Yeah, I exposed them to like, I don't know, it wasn't going too well.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. So, how's the grading going?
Oh, I'm done with lab 1, but I haven't started. That's why I asked you if you want to be. Because I approximately 2 hours.
Okay. Okay, cool. So lab 1's done.
Homework
Next
1.
homework.
Yeah, either want me to do it Wednesday or
Yeah, ideally I'd like to have it done by Wednesday.
by Wednesday.
They turned out, I think last
Sunday. No.
I think it was Wednesday they turned in. Yeah, let me know if you want help with that too.
Okay.
I'll try. If it's too much, I can try to pair with you. Get
Yeah.
this done.
Yeah, I'll try to do it. Right
Let me know how it goes. Yeah. Okay. Oh. Yeah. So, you guys work together on this? Oh. That's fine. I mean, as long as we got.
You know how that goes. Oh, really?
Okay.
Oh,
So, no, because I checked you off, so you're fine. Just remind me your name. Yeah. Okay. So the plan is they start lab 3 today, and it's going to be a team assignment.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted to do a demo for Git workflow, and so that's why I wanted you here, so we can do like a live demo. You commit something, I can pull it down.
Oh, okay. Just committing from.
Yeah.
Making lunch that doesn't need a microwave.
Exactly.
Okay, guys, let's bring it back together. So I'm going to show you how I would plan this out. So we looked at some sample code. We looked at like the end result, but that's not really the most important takeaway that I want you to get from this. It's more like the process. How do you get there? How do you plan for this? Because that's the thing that's really going to make or break how well you do on your exam, and also just your projects in general. The planning is very important. So I'm going to show you how I would plan for this. And so at the very top, you'll notice some comments. And this is my code. This is my solution. I'm just going to delete everything. This is my planning. So I wrote this before I wrote very much code. Oh, yes. Oh, am I not sharing my screen? Okay, thank you. Sometimes I forget to do that, and it's good that you're calling me out on that, because I could have gone another 15 minutes without realizing it. Okay, so here we are. This is how I started. I knew I would want a choose card function that basically generates a random card. And I could call it twice. It can print out the HTML, so it'll echo out the HTML. And this I wasn't entirely sure about, but I figured somehow it can return an int. That'll help me rank the cards. So whichever int is higher. And then we'll call choose card twice, and we'll store the int values of each card, basically the rank. And this tells us who's the winner. And then finally, we'll print a message based on whoever wins. That's it. That's the entire program in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines of planning. So now let me kind of put my code back in there. So now we can kind of see how I approach this. So this choose card function ended up becoming, there's some dead code in here actually. Let me delete this. Boop. So we have a choose card function, and it generates a random suit, random index, and it echoes out the image. Okay, and then it returns an int. So it does exactly what I wanted it to do. Next, we can go down here, call it twice. So we do that here in the HTML. So I just call it here and call it here. All right. And each of these, when I call it, a couple of things happen. First, it echoes out the HTML. So right here, it echoes out the HTML for the image. And second, it returns the rank index. So this is where we get P1 rank, P2 rank. Okay. So now we are here. Store the int values of each. So we call it twice, store the int values of each. And this tells us who's the winner, because whoever has the higher int value wins. And finally, print a message based on whoever wins. So right here, print winner. P1, we pass in the ranks. And what does print winner do? It just echoes out another statement based on whoever wins. That's all. Any questions about that? So I encourage you guys just do more of these free-form coding drills. We'll have more challenge activities in the future like this. And even if we don't, like, I encourage you to do more. So one thing you could do is basically, you know, for your homework or for the labs, practice not looking at the step-by-step instructions and just kind of write out your plan for how you do it. And then you can compare, like, what did you do to what the tutorial suggested, and time yourself too. This will help you succeed on the exam. Okay, so let's move on from that. The next thing we want to do is we're going to introduce Lab 3. So let's look at that. Here we go, Silverjack Lab. All right, so you'll notice for this one, there are no step-by-step instructions. Okay, so this is a chance to practice kind of thinking from scratch how you'd approach it. And this is what it looks like. So it's another card game, and there are some rules. So each player draws cards until the sum of the cards is close enough to 42 or has just exceeded 42. There are no duplicate cards, right? You can't have the Ace of Hearts showing up twice. And then there's some point values for all the cards. And basically it's similar to blackjack, right? But you're not going to 21, you're going to 42. And then you decide who's the winner. So the way this will work is when your page refreshes, it'll just generate all the cards. It'll generate everyone's hand. And then it'll tell you the scores and who wins. So we'll walk through this together. And there's, at a high level, there's a few major functions you can think about. We may have a get hand function, which returns an array of cards per player, a display hand function, and a display winners function. And you'll notice the word array, right? We haven't worked with arrays yet. So we're also going to talk about that today. Or if we run out of time, next time. So let's do that. Let's actually introduce arrays. And then we'll come back to this lab. Okay, so PHP arrays. This is our syntax for an array. Okay. We can hard code values into it like this. We can also declare an empty array, and we can add values to it like this with the bracket syntax, or we can use array push. So array push, you put the array name and then the values you want to push on there. Okay, and these are a couple debugging tools. So you can use the print_r method to print out the contents of an array at any time, or you can use var dump. All right, so let's practice. Let's go to this website here. We can. What is this? This doesn't look right. I'm not installing this. Okay, well, this could be a bad link or something. Let's not use that. Let's not use that link. Okay, so let's just go ahead and let's type it into Cloud9 and see what we get. Let's make a little demo. Let's see, we've got arrays demo. New file, index.php. Okay, so our PHP file. Cool. And we can put some HTML in here. Okay. Well, let's just take this, paste it in here. Okay, so let's play with this. We have our weekdays array. We're going to push the values of M and T onto our array using this syntax. We can also do it this way. We can call array push and pass in weekdays and then a W. That'll push basically Wednesday on there. Let's take a look at what it looks like with var dump, and let's comment this out for now. Let's just see what it looks like here. So let's run this. Open and check this out. So it doesn't look. It can look a little confusing, but it's giving you all the information about this array. So notice these are the indices 0, 1, and 2, and the value at the 0th index is M. The value at the first index is T, and so on. The value at the second index is W. So again, this is useful for debugging, right? If your code isn't quite doing what you think it's doing, you can do var dump your array and see what's in there. Let's see what it looks like if we display the values using print R. That's another thing that you can try. Let's refresh the page. This is what it looks like with print R. Effectively, you get the same information. I think var dump gives you a little bit more. Although print R might be easier to read. Okay. Displaying array content. So for loops go hand in hand with arrays. We will often iterate through each item of the array and do something with it. We might, for example, print out a list of items. We might echo out a li tag for each item. So let's see how we would print out a list of the days of the week. So, for example, here, let's just do it this way. I'm going to array push Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Okay, now let's use a for loop to print this out. But first, I'm just going to refresh the page to make sure it still works. Yep. Now, let's suppose I want to print this out as a list. So we can do this. Echo a UL tag. And I'll echo out the closing UL tag as well. There's a lot of activity going on in the chat. Do I want to bring this up?
No.
No, I don't want to. Look at that. Okay. All right. You guys are engaging though. Appreciate that. So we've got our UL tag. Now we're gonna create basically an LI tag for every day of the week. So how do we do that? Let's create a for loop. And let's see, so it'll be something like for I equals 0, I is less than, so we want to get the length of this array. And so let's see, we can use the count method. So count, and then we'll put in the array name. So we'll do count weekdays, and then we'll do I++. And now what we'll do is we can echo out the li tag, and let's close it as well. I always like to close it right after I open it, just so I avoid a bug where I might forget to close it, and then those bugs can be pretty annoying to figure out. So, and then I'll just echo out the value at the array. So we can say weekdays at I. Cool. Let's take a look. What does it look like? Look at that. There's our list. Okay, so we've gone from an array to HTML. What if we want to print out a random day of the week? How do we do that? I hear some ideas. Do you think you know how to do it?
Yeah, sort of.
Okay, do you want to just hop on the Zoom? You could take control of my screen and try it.
I'm not ready yet.
You all right? You give it a try. I'll guide you if you're not got it. So just a request remote control. Okay, approve. Okay, so what we want to do is, let's say on line 30, let's just print out a random day of the week. So yeah, what do you think? What do you think we'll do? And remind me your name again.
Raymond.
Raymond. Okay, yeah. So Raymond, what do you think we'll do?
Sorry, I didn't know. Great.
I think that sounds like a great idea. So yeah, create a variable.
That's not random. Random.
So what's the range? Yeah, what's the range of our random numbers here? Yeah, 0 to 6. Good catch. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Echo. Weekdays. And then at that random value.
Yeah. So cool. So I'll go ahead and run this, see what it looks like. Oh, I think we didn't save it. Let me save it. So, oh, this is actually my mistake. I didn't put a semicolon there. So there you go. There's our T, W, Sunday, Saturday. Nice job. Now, one suggestion here. How could we make this more flexible so that we don't have to hard code in the 6 here? Because what if our array has different
count?
Yeah, you want to give it a try?
Okay.
So I heard you say -1.
Is it -1?
Yeah, it's -1 because count is actually 7. So if you don't put the -1, you'll get 0 to 7.
Okay.
So when you put the -1 in there, it'll be 0 to 6, which is what we want.
Okay.
Okay, great. All right, thank you, Raymond. So now if we run this, let me save it and run it. We see a bunch of random days come up here. There you go. Nice. Okay, great. So we've talked about iterating through the array with the for loop. Let's see. Yep, using the count. Very cool. You can also use while loops, right? While loops exist. You even have do while loops. Yeah, now this is an interesting one as well. You can use the for each syntax, which will, this can sometimes be easier to read. So let's play with that. How can we change this for loop to be a for each? So I'll just copy this and I'll paste it down below. So we've got our same thing, right? For, but instead of this syntax, it's going to be for each. And what was it? For each weekdays as days. So you're going to use the as keyword here. For each weekdays as day. Then we can just use the day variable. And this should work. Okay, let's delete the one we have up here. Let's run this. Yep, it should look exactly the same. Yeah, so that works just as well. Okay. All right. So there's our, I think that's a good stopping point for arrays. We can talk about this next time. So here's a list of some of the many methods that are available to you for arrays. This array rand might come in useful at some point, a random index from the array. Sort, possibly. Yeah. Okay, so well that's your intro to arrays for today. Now I do want to let's revisit our lab 3 here. So now you know what an array is. So looking back at our potential functions for lab 3, you might have a getHand function. So remember, this is our goal. You might have a getHand function that returns an array of cards per player, and a display hand function that displays an array of cards along with sum of points, and finally a display winners function. Okay, so for this lab, you're going to be working with a team of 4. And I have the team names listed somewhere here. Lab 3 team assignments. If you click there, I randomly assigned you, and this is everyone's team. Okay. And let's see. So I think the biggest challenge for working with your team is going to be your Git workflow. If you haven't done this before, this can be a little maybe confusing. So I want to do a little demo of that today. And I also just remembered we haven't done attendance yet, so let me open that up. Attendance. Okay, so attendance is editable. Go ahead. And remember, we're not backfilling entries, right? Just today's attendance. Okay, so while we're figuring that out, I'm going to show you our Git workflow that I recommend. Let's see, where was it? Here it is. So there should be a file in the current week for the Git workflow. Okay, here it is. So overall, so this is going to be useful for team members. So there's one thing about the setup here. I'm assuming that you're working on a single branch. If you have multi-branches, it's going to be a little bit different. I'm not going to go over that. That's going to be out of scope for this class. But if you guys want to do that, you can come to office hours and I can help you figure that out. So I'm assuming you're all working on single branch, which is probably going to be your master branch. So the overall principle is you want to seek to understand before you are understood. So in other words, pull frequently, get other people's code, merge it into yours very frequently. You push after you've merged everyone's code into yours. So I'm going to do a little demo here with with Alex, our TA, and we're going to imagine that we're on the same team. So it's a team of 2. So first step, one person on our team makes a repository on GitHub. So let's suppose it's me. I'm going to go to GitHub and make a repo. Let's go to plus, new repository. Let's call this CST 336, Spring 18, Git demo. All right. Go ahead and click this one too. Initialize it with a README. It just saves you a few extra steps later. So click that and leave it public. Let's go to create repository. There we go. Okay, where was it? Here it is. Okay, now, so we did step 1. We did step 2. Step 3, we're going to add a team member. We're going to add our team members. So I'm going to go to settings, go to collaborators, and I'm typing my password. So collaborators. Now I'm going to search for Alex's GitHub username. What's her username?
It's Alex Morales 26.
Morales 26. Okay, so found him, and then I'm going to click on add collaborator. Okay, now Alex needs to check his email and accept the link, accept the invite. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start work on my new machine. So my machine is Cloud9. So I'm going to, step number 1, on my machine, find a clean working directory. I'll define what that means. And then we're going to basically clone our repo into there. And Alex will do the same on his end. So let's go to my machine. I'll put that over here. So you can use your same Cloud9 environment that you've been using so far. The key here is you want to find a clean directory.
You should probably tell them not to put it inside their own repository. So it won't be
Right. Right. Yeah. So we'll talk about that. So we're going to make sure wherever you put it, it should be a clean repository, which means there should not be an existing Git repository there already. You shouldn't put it inside of another repo, for example, another folder that has your repo. And I'll show you one way to check. Okay. This is very important. It might mess you up. Yeah, notice what I'm doing here. Oh, where's my dash? Okay. So I'm going to do an ls-all. And I'm going to scan for a particular folder called .git. We don't see one here, which is good. That's a good sign. Okay. So it's safe for me to clone here. I can clone it in here. But I'm going to show you a case where if it's not safe. So let's go into, I think I have a Git repo here. Git ls-all. Oh, no, that's strange. Let's go into maybe React demo, perhaps. There you go. So now if I do ls-all here, check it out. There's a Git folder there. If you see that in your whatever directory you're in, that's bad. You don't want to clone another repo into here. So I'm going to cd out of this. Just find a place where it's safe, where there's no Git repo here. So again, in my top level directory inside workspace, there's nothing here. But I'm going to go inside of CST 336, Spring 18, and I'm going to clone it here, but I'm going to check to make sure that there's no Git repo here. And there's none. So it's safe to clone. So I'm going to do the next step, git clone, and then my repo URL, which is, I forgot where it is. Where's my GitHub? Is it here? Where did it go? I lost it. Oh, here it is. Right. So let's go to code, clone or download. I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to just paste it. There we go. So I have a new file here called that. 336 git demo. Git demo, let's go in there. There's only one file in here, which is a README. So now, Alex and I, let's see if we can do this. We are going to each do a commit, and let's see how we can merge our code together. So let's suppose I'm going to do some individual work. I'm gonna, let's just say I want to modify the README. So let's open it. There it is. I'll put some code or some, I guess, markup here. Oops, I've modified this. Save it. And now I'm going to follow the usual Git staging commands. I'm not going to go over this because I assume you guys know this by now, but feel free to come to office hours if you're confused about this. Or TA, yeah. Or Alex's hours, which are tomorrow. So let's do a git status to see what changed. I always do a git diff just to make sure. Okay, yeah, looks good. Let's do a git add. Add dot will add everything in the current directory. And then let's do a git status again to make sure it looks fine. Yep. And let's do a git commit. So I say updated readme. Cool. So this is me as an individual doing my work. Now, let's suppose I'm done with my commits. I'm ready to push it back up to Origin, to GitHub. Well, not so fast, because for all I know, Alex might have been pushing his own commits to GitHub. So the first thing I want to do is pull. I'm going to do a git pull. Git pull origin master. There's nothing to pull because he actually didn't push anything. So now I'm safe to push. Git push origin master. Type my username, and so on. Okay. Now we're going to go, and Alex is going to do his own commit. Are you in the Zoom, by the way?
No.
Okay, can you log into the Zoom? Let's see if we have time. Screen sharing right there. Okay, so go ahead and share your screen. Yeah. Okay.
All right, so
Great.
Go.
So let's, I'll just navigate here. So in your Cloud9, you got it. Okay. So let's go to your GitHub. You want to clone it. Have you already done that?
No, yeah, that's already done.
Oh, you already did. So Alex has already cloned it onto his machine. So that's great. So let's go ahead. Let's have you modify README. So open up the README file.
Format git pull because you.
Oh, hold off on
yeah.
that. Hold off on that. Yeah. So go ahead and modify something here. Yeah. Nice. So save it and just go ahead and commit it. Yeah, add it and then commit it. Okay, now try to do a push. You'll notice if he tries to do a push, he should get an error from GitHub. Okay, oh,
I don't remember that.
if he remembers his password.
I don't remember the password.
Uh-oh, okay, fail. Demo fail. That's okay. Okay, so just imagine this, all right? If he did a push, GitHub would actually reject it because he's behind. He needs to do a pull first.
It would request for a pull.
What's that?
It would request for a pull.
Yeah, right. So can you just share your screen one more time? I just want still show it even though it won't work. Yeah. Okay, so he's gonna do this command first, git pull origin master. And I think this will actually work because it shouldn't ask you for anything. Yeah, so now you see, so he's doing this step, git pull origin master. This is the place where you might have conflict. And he actually does have a conflict because he modified the same exact line of the same file that I modified. So now you have to resolve your conflict. So let's just say we want both. So just delete line 3, delete line 5, and delete line 7. Yeah, delete, oh, line 6, I mean. Yeah, so maybe we want it to look like this, so we're done. You can write a commit message, so just save this, and I think you have to commit this again. I think you have to add it, maybe? Yeah, add. Sorry, guys, I know we're going over time here. Fix merge, yeah. Okay, and then at this point, you can do the final thing, which is push Origin Master. And assuming you know your password, it will allow you to push to GitHub. And that's it. That's one example flow of how two team members can work together, even on the same file, and get each other's commits. Okay, so that's all today. I encourage you guys with your team members, exchange contact information, email, and figure out maybe a time to meet over the weekend or something, and you can work on this.
Or start grading today.
Okay, cool.